Manja. Hey, bada boom, bada bing. Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Wasn't necessarily advertising for Eastside Marios. However, is the name Manga gives you a clue who I'm going to talk about in this video as the Calgary Flames continue their rebuild. I'm dare to say Murray Edwards. The Calgary Flames are rebuilding, and you could say this player was expendable. And talking about Andrew Mangiapane or Mangiapane, I've heard many different ways of saying it, but the Calgary Flames, just ahead of the draft, they did trade Andrew Mangiapane to the Washington Capitals, so Flames colors. And then I found they called this the warning setting on my Mirator lamp for Washington Capitals colors. Not too sure you could say here's a warning for this trade, but essentially straight up the Calgary Flames traded Andrew Mangiapane to the Washington Capitals. In exchange, the Calgary Flames get a second round draft pick in 2025. And to note that the second round pick the Calgary Flames will receive will be the later draft pick that the Washington Capitals acquired previously from the Colorado Avalanche. I believe it was in the Lars Eller trade. So essentially this pick will be in the 50s, early 60s, as the Colorado Avalanche are still likely going to be competitive this next upcoming season for the 2024-25 season. And the other beauty of this trade is the Calgary Flames retain no salary, and basically this move moves $5.8 million cap space off the books, because after this season Andrew Mangiapane is a free agent, or unrestricted free agent, and he definitely cashed in after the 21-22 season, when basically everybody had career years and made it to the second round of the playoffs, that he scored 35 goals, and he cashed in with that 3-year deal. That paid him, $5.8 million for the next 3 seasons, but that was done with the previous regime. Now with the new regime and Craig Conroy, and I'm going to say this rebuild that the Calgary Flames need to take on, and also with the previous trade with Jacob Markstrom, and despite the retained salary that they are added on, this adds $9.9 million in cap space for the Calgary Flames heading into free agent frenzy. So what do you think of this trade that the Calgary Flames made and shipping out Andrew Mangiapane for a very late second round draft pick in 2025? I'm going to say it's a pretty good trade, considering that Andrew Mangiapane looked to be expendable. He's always been a reliable middle six forward. They always played with, I know he was good with Blake Coleman and Michael Backlund as a middle six check role that caught the goal, but after that 35 goal season that he had, 21-22, he's never achieved more than 30 or 20 goals. So I'm going to say right now he's someone that has likely, say he's a player who scored 30 and not a 30 goal scorer when he hasn't scored 20 in the previous 2 seasons. And he also worked with Michael Frolik and Matthew Tkachuk as well. They call that the 3M line with Andrew Mangiapane with all the M's to make that work. And I'm going to think this trade also signifies the Washington Capitals hoping that in the last year of his contract, being a contract year, and I think Washington is pushing off the inevitable rebuild they need to do, and the fact that they still got a couple more years with Alexander Ovechkin that this may try to keep the window somewhat open. I mean, I think Washington this past season, I think based on how the records shook down, they were fortunate to make the playoffs, but then they got swept by the New York Rangers. And I think if Detroit would have gotten that final wild card spot, they probably would have given the Rangers a little more run for money. But I mean, the Washington Capitals and Alexander Ovechkin still on the way to pave their way for the goal record. That could be an asset that the Washington Capitals acquired. They also acquired Pierre-Luc Dubois. So I guess this warning setting is kind of fitting for the Washington Capitals, but I mean, it's a pretty good move just to move out salary. It was no retained salary. This was just straight up, and the fact that Calgary now embracing a rebuild with more young prospects making their way in the lineup. Hopefully this opens the door a lot more with an earned spot for Matthew Coronado, or if Jacob Pelche is able to shake the injury bug, that could he be playing in the middle six check and roll, or any other players that we add in free agent frenzy. But basically that's all it is. I mean, there was some rumors, although some was shot down, that Andrew Mangiapane was basically indicating that he might not want to re-sign with the Calgary Flames after this upcoming season, and basically was just get something for him now, although he didn't necessarily say that, but on the other hand, I don't think the Calgary Flames would be willing to sign him to that same amount of money, or even $6 million, considering that you might get 20 goals out of him and 40 points. I believe it was 55 points in that same season when he scored 35 goals in the 21-22 season. But it's just interesting that he did still struggle, considering that Michael Backlund has always had a steady career, and Blake Coleman had a career season this past season, and that's who he played with all the time most of this season. But when you also look at the jerseys in the stands, I think he's going to be missed here in Calgary. Andrew Mangiapane, I know that with the Italian name, he braces, he has helped out the Italian community. I know he had like an Italian golf tournament, which I think that was also taking on from Mark Giordano, but he was always active in the community, and you did see a lot of Andrew Mangiapane jerseys within the Sea of Red, especially the last few years, and he's just an all-around middle six forward that can play on any role. And I think the fact that he is a little bit of a smaller player was the fact that if you go back to 2015, I mean, he's a 6th round draft pick. I think it was drafted 166 overall. If you bear with me, I'll bring up the numbers for Andrew Mangiapane, which I'm going to say he's played over 400 games in the NHL, as I mentioned, all with the Calgary Flames, and he did play for the Barrie Colts in his NHL, or his OHL career before he got drafted. So I'll bring up Andrew Mangiapane's stats. I mean, he's 28 years old, as he turned 28 on April 4th, and then he was born in 1996. And yeah, he was drafted 166 overall in the 2015 draft under Brad Treliving from Toronto. And I said this past season he played 75 games. He scored 14 goals, 26 assists for 40 points. And actually a +7, despite the fact that the Flames struggle. All with the Calgary Flames. He's played in 417 games, scored 109 goals, 106 assists for 215 points, and 52 plus minus. So I'm going to say, given that he was drafted in the 6th round, I'm going to say we got a pretty good return for Andrew Mangiapane being a late second round pick. So yeah, last season he scored 14 goals. The season prior, 22-23, he had 17 goals, 26 assists for 43 points. So relatively the same numbers that he had with the Flames this season. Final 22 the career, yeah, he did score 35 goals, 20 assists for 55 points. And then also if we bring up the playoff stats, as he has played in 27 Stanley Cup playoff games. Keep in mind that includes the 10 in the bubble in 2020 when we played 4 games against the Jets. In 27 playoff games, he has 6 goals, 6 assists for 12 points and a +3. And he had 6 points for the Calgary Flames in 22 when we played the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers. But his goal totals in the NHL, it was 17-18 that he made his NHL debut. Didn't get any points in 10 games. And then 18-19, he had 44 games. He had 8 goals, 5 assists, 13 points. And then 19-20, played in every game before, you know what, wrecked everything. In 68 games, he had 17 goals, 15 assists for 32 points. So maybe that season, if things didn't happen, he could have gotten 20 that season. And then 2021, when was the All-Canadian division, he played all 56 games. He had 18 goals, 14 assists for 32 points. So he has 17, 18, 35, 17, 14. And actually, I think he missed some games this past season. I think he has a suspension, I believe. So I'm going to say the Washington Capitals, you're going to get someone who's, let's say, at least going to give you 15 to 20 goals and 40 assists and be a role player on the checking line. So, of course, when you have futures involved, you can't judge who won this trade. Yeah, I'm going to say the Flames did well moving a player out, potentially bringing in or making room for some of the young prospects, and the fact that Washington Capitals potentially maybe get some reinforcements for their offense for Alexander Ovechkin and bringing in Pierre-Luc Dubois. But I still ask this question on my community tab, so I'll bring it up here. Who won the trade between the Calgary Flames and Washington Capitals this time? Calgary Flames trade for Andrew Mangiapane to the Washington Capitals for a 2025 second round pick. And I mentioned 2 pieces straight up. No salary retention. Actually, I had 129 people actually voted on this poll, and 66% say the Calgary Flames add $5.8 million in cap space. I put Washington Capitals delaying the rebuild. I know I had an interesting comment from Chris Hulse 3381. I mean, his comment was, he seems like that I make my words on these community tab poll make a positive response for Calgary and who won the trade. Well, based on some other polls that I made, I mean, it wasn't all for Calgary. And then he did say the Capitals added a 3rd goal scorer to their playoff team. Well, I argue that he's only scored 30 goals once, considering he did not get 20. I'm going to say more accurately, he could be a 20 goal scorer that he could take to the bank, not a 30 goal scorer. And then he put, or the Flames get a late second round pick next year, which, I mean, I'm going to say right now, we did well for dumping salary, not retaining salary, going to a team that could use him in their, chance to try to stay somewhat competitive and make the playoffs and help Alexander Ovechkin essentially break the goal record that is established by Wayne Gretzky, which if Ovechkin can stay healthy, that could will happen within 2 years of his contract. And then, the second round pick, that all depends on who we get in terms of who we draft and how it pans out, or potentially use it for currency later. But that's just me bringing out this trade. If you read or watch Flames Nation, they were all thinking that, considering how much cap hit Andrew Mangiapane brings or has, and the kind of game he is, the kind of player he is, that the Flames Nation were thinking we'd be lucky to get a 3rd or 4th round pick and had to retain salary. So I'm going to say, considering we traded him and get a 2nd round pick back, which is likely going to be in the 50s or 60s overall, or even 64th overall if the Avalanche win the Stanley Cup for 2025. I'm going to say we did well in that to open up cap space, potentially open up a spot for a free agent or one of our younger forwards up in the system right now. So what do you think of the trade? And are you going to miss Andrew Mangiapane? I think we're going to miss him in the community. I don't think there's going to be any, harsh judgment to when he comes back to town. They'll have the nice video tribute. I don't think he's going to be booed relentlessly. I mean, for a 6th round draft pick to play over 400 games with the Calgary Flames, and we've got a point, half a point a game on average. I think, he's at that age that maybe he wants to play more of a contender, or we'll see what happens. But I'm going to say the direction the team's going in, how much it would potentially cost to keep him, I think outweigh, cashing out the asset right now. So close out, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, just make sure you hit like, subscribe. I have my social media links down in the description below, and Manga, I should say. Well, thanks for what you've done in the Sea of Red, and best of luck in Washington, except for twice a year when you play the Calgary Flames, but you were definitely one of the more popular players on the team, and did see a lot of Mangiapane jerseys amongst fans, so we'll see how things go in Washington, and will he stay in Washington, or do you think he'll be worth 6+ in free agent frenzy in 2025? So I'm going to say go Flames go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.